Authorities are looking into a frightening incident at one of the world's busiest airports. A drone suspected of hitting a passenger plane as it came in for a landing. The pilot of a British Airways jet on approach to London's Heathrow Airport says something struck the front of the aircraft. It was arriving from Geneva, 132 passengers and 5 crew on board. It did go on to land safely, but the incident raises big questions about the danger of drones. I'm joined by Mike Boyd, an aviation security analyst, and Oliver McGee, aerospace mechanical and civil engineer and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Transportation for Technology Policy. First of all, Mike, we have rules against flying drones near airports and above certain altitudes in this country. What about in Britain?
Whether they have them or not doesn't make any difference. Rules are for honest people. Breaking rules is what terrorists do. That's where we have to focus in the future in controlling drones. It's a great technology. It's a great whole new channel of communication. The problem is we have no control over how to monitor how they're used or where they're used, whether it's here or in England. The fact of the matter is these are machines that are really a time bomb when it comes to security.
Yeah, Oliver, I mean, you know, terrorists spend obviously all kinds of time and effort trying to sneak bombs on board aircraft. If they could just put a drone in the air in a place where it gets ingested into an engine, that pretty much accomplishes the same thing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. This British Civil Aviation Authority is actually coupling and collaborating with the Federal Aviation Administration in the U.S. to look at raising the science question for university researchers and national laboratories, to look at the impact of a drone being ingested into an engine. We already know plenty of research out there that says how a bird impacts an engine and as it's ingested in it. But a metal object full of lithium-ion battery systems and something that's weighing over 55 pounds going into an aircraft engine is basically going to cause a fire. Basically, an aircraft engine is essentially a controlled bomb. So if you have other parts and foreign objects going inside that engine, that's a catastrophic event, and it is probably attractive to terrorism.
Yeah, Virginia Tech put out an animation of what that would look like. We can play it for you now. Mike, we know that a couple of geese brought down an Airbus A320 when they were ingested into its engines near LaGuardia after it took off from LaGuardia Airport. You put a hunk of metal in those things, you've got a whole lot bigger problem.
Well, yeah, but this is just the tip of the security iceberg. That's when someone flies something in the airplane and the drone happened to meet. I'm talking about what a terrorist could do with drones at a stadium, what they could do at any conglomeration of people, at an aircraft or airline terminal. So there's a whole slew of things we need to do, not just look at what it does when it hits a CF6 engine. We've got to look at how do we control and monitor who is using these. And at the end of the day, until we do that, we might want to consider saying no drones. Because
Seriously?
Right now, what do we have? We don't know who's operating them. We don't know who's flying them. We don't know where they're being flown from. There's no control whatsoever. That's a scary situation, and I am a big fan of this technology. We're working with firms to expand that in aviation, but we have a security issue we have to address first.
But isn't that closing the barn door after the horses are out? I mean, there are thousands of those things, maybe millions already out there on the market.
You ban their use. You say no more until someone is licensed to own one, not just fly it, own one and be responsible for its use.
I know, Oliver, you know, in the U.S., again, if you're going to fly one commercially over a certain weight, and it's not very heavy, you have to have a pilot's license. Obviously, that, you know, gives some protection, but terrorists aren't inclined to listen to rules and follow FAA regulations. How do you deal with that?
Well, Transportation Secretary Anthony Fox last year announced rulemaking that requires all recreational and commercial drones to be registered with the FAA, so the agency can figure out the space of drones that's in the national airspace. Secretary Fox says that flying in the national airspace is a serious business, so we can't have objects going across the national airspace system without the FAA knowing what's up there. But as you said, John, there are 700,000 drones that were purchased last year, and they're expected to have that to rise up to 1 million. And consumers are attracted to these things. Banning them probably may be a more difficult economic issue than we think. As you said, John, the horse is out the barn. But as we look into the future, we're going to see package delivery systems that Amazon is proposing. We're also going to see, if you look at the Google versus Facebook internet war, filling our sky full of drones. They're trying to take the internet all across the world. They're going to be using drones to use that. Pretty soon, in the next decade, we're probably going to see our skies looking more like Hanna-Barbera, the Jetsons. We're going to see so many things. The FAA cannot necessarily stop things to go into the sky as long as they are flown properly and people are trained. But what the FAA does is safety is its North Star. It has to make sure that whatever is up in the sky, whether it is 400 feet or 32,000 feet, that we are safe.
They think that this drone in London was launched from Richmond Park. So far, no sign of the drone or any debris from it. We'll let our viewers know what happens. Oliver McGee, Mike Boyd, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.